Welcome to Chakras and Cusswords, a podcast that dives into self-improvement, completing goals, and overcoming modern-day obstacles. I am your host, Katherine, and together we will address our fears, establish self-awareness, and complete self-growth through honesty and reflection. Remember to please like and share this podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Chakras and Cusswords. This podcast has been brought to you by Anchor. Anchor has sponsored, distributed, and helped me create a good podcast to you. So if you have been thinking about making your own podcast, I suggest you use Anchor. It's easy to use and it's free. So go ahead, create your podcast, and I can't wait to hear it. Thank you for listening. Welcome, everybody. My name is Katherine. I am the podcast host of Chakras and Cusswords podcast. I'm also the brand creator as well. Today, I'm in here to do the horoscopes for all 12 zodiacs for Scorpio season. So if you are just getting to know me, I do a lot with astrology, the chakra system, energy work. That's kind of my niche. I definitely consider myself a alchemist, a spiritual intuitive guide. I am a meditation guide and a chakra coach. So this is my full center of energy, is learning about and teaching people more about the chakra system and also astrology. So today is a fun room. It's probably going to last for about 30 minutes at most. This is going to be a quick room talking about the Scorpio, what the Scorpio really resembles, how we can prepare for Scorpio season, what can we look out for, some of the major transits that are happening in this current week. Also, if you are really into astrology, I recommend that you tap into my podcast because I do monthly breakdowns of the upcoming astrology transits for the season and also for the month. So that's really all I can say about me. So let's talk a little bit about the area of the Scorpio. So the Scorpio, for those who don't know, is actually a water sign. It's funny because a lot of people think that the Scorpio should be a fire sign, right? And one of the reasons why is because of the Scorpio's ruler. The Scorpio is ruled by Mars and also Pluto. So Mars is known for that fire energy, that fiery planet, the planet of war, assertiveness, aggression, really that area of that Mars energy. A lot of people forget that the Scorpio also has ties with Pluto, which is really about the rebirth, the area of transition and transformation. The Scorpio is known for its ability of transformation and also transition. A lot of times we hear how the Scorpio is noted to be the rising phoenix, the one who came up from above the ashes and rose to this beautiful phoenix and really had this area where it became this legendary, mystical, vibrational God type energy, right? So when we look at the Scorpio, we also have to really see that the Scorpio does have high energies of emotions. A lot of times, people will talk about this, right? The Scorpio can be very assertive, but it is also very centered with emotion and addressing how they feel. Also, the Scorpio is a feminine energy. So, for those who follow me, you know I say that there are different types of energy. We have feminine and masculine. The way you could really learn about what energy you have the most of is to have a full birth chart reading, and it will let you know exactly how many dominant planets you have in what energy alignment. So, for instance, the Scorpio is a yin based energy, which is a feminine energy. So the Scorpio does have that nourishing nature about it. It does have that center where they're able to really show how they are feeling and really be able to express what they're feeling. They also don't always communicate as strong as maybe like a Gemini would, but they are centered on sharing how they feel and sharing what's really that area space for them. Also, for the Scorpio is all about taking chances. The Scorpio will take a little bit more chances than some of the other zodiacs will. That's just kind of the Scorpio's brave nature, right? That's kind of how the Scorpio rolls. So it is a area and a season that we want to look at maybe taking some chances for us as a collective. Also, what is traditionally known with Scorpio season is also the eclipse season, right? So the Scorpio tends to be focused on that rebirth energy of Pluto, of that energy of growth and that energy of moving further, especially in the areas of healing. Sometimes the Scorpio doesn't necessarily know that they are on this healing path, but it just kind of happens that way, right? And that's really where this season brings us into. It brings us into this place where we have to do some reflection and we have to look at where it is that we can heal, where it is that we can evaluate and really transform our own areas, especially in the shadow state, right? Especially with eclipse season. So I'm going to get into the reading. I'm going to do all 12 zodiacs. So listen for your zodiac. I will be going off of your sun sign. That's where I have determined what house placement this is affecting. Okay, so this is what a horoscope is. It's where is the sun in your house placement. So we are going off of your sun sign, which for most people is their horoscope sign. Okay, so I will start with the Scorpio first. Oh, and the Scorpio for this area, for this season, for the next 30 days, because Scorpio season actually starts tomorrow. So there's a huge area of transition coming in for the Scorpio, huge area of transition, healing, and transformation. The Scorpio really needs to look at their own area self of identity and also preference and perspective of where they are feeling aligned in their higher journey and also in their healing journey. I believe the South Node is still in Scorpio, so it is going to be a bolt of energy for the Scorpio. And I told this a lot of Scorpios probably about a month ago. This was actually a perfect time for you to start to refrain from using excessive amounts of energy. We're actually going to want to preserve our energy right before we hit our sun sign major alignment. So for the Scorpio, we have a lot of major events coming literally within the next few days. So today, Saturn goes direct and it goes direct in Aquarius. So that is affecting the Scorpio as well, especially for people who have in their nodes in either their north node or in their south node if they have any alignments with Aquarius, Scorpio, Capricorn, Taurus, and also Libra. Make sure you check that, but it's really affecting the Scorpio placements and the Aquarius placements the most, especially in the healing elements. Also, what is happening too is not only is Saturn going direct, but tomorrow the sun will cycle into Scorpio season and we have Venus shifting as well. So, this is also a perfect time for the Scorpio to look at their relationships with their love, with their foundation of their relationship, and also to look at their area space as if there are still a lot of wounds that are affecting them for their own individual purpose. So let's say the relationship has healed, right? the relationship, quote unquote, has moved past the healing journey, right? As a couple, they've decided it has moved past the healing journey. What the Scorpio really needs to look at is if that is 100% true. Because if it's not, this is actually going to be a perfect time for the Scorpio to establish that area of refuge and continue the healing process. So if you are a Scorpio placement, and especially a Sun Scorpio, and you have been having a lot of dynamics in your relationship, you really need to look at it as a whole to see how this is affecting you completely, not how it's affecting the relationship. How is it affecting you as the individual, as the Scorpio? Also, especially if you have a Venus in Scorpio, you really need to look at this energy. At the Libra, this is really a time for the Libra to kind of kick back and become a little bit more centered around business, especially if the Libra has been recovering from Mercury retrograde and has been recovering from all that energy that has really kind of taken out the last past months, and just making the Libra feel extremely exhausted. So, if the relationship and the area space of the relationship is still going well, there's no need to actually deep dive or do anything that's going to ruffle any feathers or do anything like that. This is actually a perfect time for the Libra to look at investments and bringing in belongings and transition. So, possibly if you are a Libra and you're centered around bringing new values and materials into your space, if that's with business, if that is with maybe creating a course, if you're a coach, or if you're centered around that area of coaching, or you're centered around that area of sharing knowledge, this is going to be the space where you're going to see, is it bringing you some type of revenue? Because if it's not making dollars, like, it doesn't make sense, right? Isn't that like what 50 said, right? That we have to look at our value. And if we're creating a whole bunch of content, or if we're creating a whole bunch of area and it's not making us a revenue, then the Libra really needs to look to see how come and what it is that we need to fix. For the Virgo, this is a perfect time for you to actually get more into alliance with other people, especially in the community. Also, this is a perfect time for you to plan an event. I don't know if you've been thinking about planning an event. If there's any Virgos in the house, you could go ahead and drop that in the chat. But if you've been thinking about planning some type of event or planning some type of structure, this is a perfect time for you to really agree and get centered in that space where you are planning and reaching out to other people. Also, this is a perfect time for the Virgo to spend it with siblings. If you have a sibling who you haven't seen for a while, or maybe there was some disconnection with the relationship, this is actually a perfect time for you to get back into communication with that sibling. For the Leo, this is the time that you're going to want to be focused on the home. This is the time you're going to want to be focused on the roots, the center of the roots of the house and of the family unit. If there is some type of dynamic right now that's making it feel a little bit obstacle-ish or a little bit disoriented, it's probably because there isn't any structure in the home. And some of that could have been really taking place because of Saturn in retrograde. But since Saturn is now direct, this is a perfect time to reestablish that area of structure and that area of really having some restrictions, especially if you are a parent who has been struggling with a teenager or somebody who has just really been acting a little bit too independently, right? They are kind of getting away with a little bit too much that is not really necessarily the best thing for them. So if you are having some complications in the home life, the only way you're really going to be able to tie that back in for the Leo is to bring more structure, especially around the foundation of the home. So you're going to have to look at that root chakra energy for the family unit. For the Cancer, this is a personal time this is really a personal time for you. This is more to be centered on the inner space of your own passions and creativity. So for the Cancer, this is actually the time that you're going to want to look at your passion projects. You're going to want to look at your area of play and what brings you pleasure. This could be introducing a new relationship. This could be experiencing new things with your relationship, such as a new romance or taking it on to the next level. But this is also really about the interpersonal space, about you as a creative individual. Also, for the Cancer, this might be a huge energy shift for you, especially with the eclipses coming on, where you might start to feel a little bit overly inward with your emotions. Don't take this all so personal. Like for the Cancer, this is really like the perfect time for you to like let some stuff brush off your shoulder. Like you just kind of got to be like, you know what, maybe this wasn't the best day for it, or maybe this person's kind of got their own thing going on. But do not take everything very personable right now. You need to be focused on your own creative space, on your own pleasure space, in your own area of what really makes you happy, what really makes you center. Take it back to the childhood and what were some of the things that really brought that energy out. For the Gemini, this is a perfect time for us to look at our daily wellness. And we want to do it in an area where, of course, with the Gemini, everything, I'm like, everything is about communication, right? For the Gemini, this is actually going to be a time that you are communicating it to yourself. So you're not going to necessarily want to be telling people exactly what they need to do or how they can fix their problems or how they can get in more consistent behaviors. But this is actually a time for you to listen to your own self and take this area of wellness and daily rituals and routines really into a practical space where you're able to keep it up. Also, for the Gemini, we're really going to want you to reserve some of your energy. You're going to want to express what you need to express now in a way that almost feels a little bit more more centered on the area of a relationship or the area of center. And the reason why is because we have Mars going retrograde pretty soon. And I'm going to be wondering what's going to happen to Mr. Yeezy if all of a sudden he's going to shut up, right? Or if he's still going to be on one, because we have Mars going retrograde pretty soon. And it's actually happening in Gemini. So this is actually a perfect time for you to balance that communication out a little bit well. Say what it is that you need to say, but then you're going to be drawn to giving that area a rest. But we really need to look at your daily habits right now with Scorpio season. So during Scorpio season, whatever routines haven't been working for you, and I was just reading, I'm pretty fascinated with Kanye West's birth chart and all the stuff that's been going on with him right now. But I was just reading how literally he got Balenciaga just basically dropped him. So they're no longer in contract or whatever. So it's very interesting to see how this energy is going to play out as Mars goes retrograde. But for the energy that you're right now feeling, a lot of your daily habits and health and wellness needs to be more consistent, and it also needs to be more ritual based, where it's on an interpersonal base, where you're healing yourself in these daily practices. So you can't just do one thing and say, I went to yoga class one time and now I'm aligned, right? Or I went to a Reiki session and now my chakras are aligned. For the Gemini, we're really going to need to see some daily consistency where we know that you're on the right track of your health, and that is physical, mental, and spiritual. For the Taurus, this is a perfect time for you to actually develop those contracts and those alliances with unions and approval. So you don't need approval from other people, but what we do need to do is actually look at who can you build a companionship with that has you in a center of completion of goals. So for a Taurus, if you have actually been looking to create an alliance with somebody, and this could possibly be centered around marriage. This could possibly be centered around work. This could possibly be centered around a new relationship, or even something as finding the right childcare for your child. As a Taurus, you're really going to want to look at the fine print. You're really going to want to look at and show your own expectations about what it is that you expect in this partnership, what it is that you need to receive in this partnership. And you're really going to want to express that. You're not going to want to be blindsided by anything. You're going to want to make sure that you 100% give your own approval before you create any strong connections or alliances. For the Aries, this is a perfect time for you to actually dip and dive in the romance area. Also, this is a good time for you to step out of the box, and that could be romantically aligned, that can also be personally aligned. But it is time that you really look at the limiting self beliefs of showing that you are in like a fearful state or a scarce state, and let yourself know that you can actually be a little bit more centered in the area of magic, of your own interpersonal places. So, this is really that time that you're going to want to be a little bit more intimate with people that you are feeling a desire for. So, if you are in a relationship that, let's say, it's kind of turned a little bit, like, is this a relationship for a couple that's in love, or is this a relationship for the roommates, right? Like, if you are in a relationship as an Aries and you're feeling like you're somebody's roommate and not necessarily their lover, it's time to look at that fully and say, if my area of intimacy and my area of desire isn't being addressed, then maybe we need to really reevaluate this relationship. And maybe we really need to reevaluate, why are we here? Right? How come we are here? How come we are in this relationship? Especially right now for the Aries, you're going to want to do it before that Mars retrograde hits. Because when the Mars retrograde hits, it's going to feel a little bit um where it might put you in a circle where, if you've already been in a like a stagnated center, especially in that passion house, it's going to feel even worse. So you want to address it now. For the Pisces, this is actually a perfect time for you to look at your area of travel and also your area of seeking higher knowledge from different cultures. You're going to want to break outside of your traditional mundane box. A lot of people don't necessarily understand, because the Pisces is very centered around that 12th house placement, right? That Neptune area of of dreams and illusions, and really having the preference of expansion into different area spaces of the higher self, right? The Pisces is kind of seen as one of the most spiritual signs. But what also happens with the Pisces is there becomes a delusion where they feel that their opinion, or maybe their ego state, is the only one that really matters, or is the only one that is really almost of worth. And in this season right now, since this is in your ninth house, you're going to want to look at different cultures, and you're going to want to look at different areas of community that you aren't traditionally used to. It's going to bring you more of that energy alignment in the crown chakra, because the Pisces has been kind of stuck, right? Their Neptune hasn't really been giving them the full energy that they really desire and the full energy that the Pisces really needs. So the Pisces is going to have to kind of open up its thinking process just a little bit more, close that cloud away from disillusion. You have to tell Neptune, like, okay, I need to learn some more things. I need to find some more things. I need to answer some more questions. And that is really going to enhance the Pisces area of spirituality, in all honesty. So open that area of travel and higher enlightenment. For the Aquarius, this is a perfect time for you to actually look at your area of achievement and success, especially for the Aquarius. If you have been stuck in this people pleasing mode, it's really because Big Daddy Saturn has been in retrograde. So if you've been noticing that you have been just kind of not really saying no when you should have, or taking on deals, or taking on too much, right? Maybe you've been working too many hours. Maybe you've been readily available for too many people. Maybe you've just been just so stuck in this kind of mode of worrying about other people. It's now time for you to actually say, stop, 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 stop. You know what? I'm very successful at what I do, and I have to give myself limits and I have to give myself boundaries. So I'm going to have to say no. And for the Aquarius, this is going to feel a little bit challenging because you've kind of been stuck in this energy from the retrograde, but it's really going to enhance your own achievements and successes. And it's really going to enhance your own area of reputation and who you are and where you are placed in this world and what your mission and enlightenment is really for. So that is for the Aquarius. And Aquarius, you can still be your same humanitarian, right? You can still have that energy of helping people, but you just can't just help everybody, right? You can't fix everybody. So you kind of have to let that area shift, where you're going to have to get back into a little bit more of that Saturn energy. And it's going to happen. And same for the Capricorn. So for the Capricorn, this is actually a perfect time for you to look at the collective circle and also look at the area circle of technology. So this is a perfect time for you to look at the area of technology and how can you use it in advancements. For the Capricorn, if you've been stuck in this people pleasing mode as well, it's probably because of the Saturn retrograde, but don't worry, that has ended today. So you're going to take this area during Scorpio season, really look at how you can create some communication, how you can get out there and show people what it is that you deliver. Also, for the Capricorn, this is a perfect time for you to increase your herbal medicines. And when I mean herbal medicines, you're kind of going to have to do a health check for the Capricorn, especially as Saturn is now coming direct. So if you've kind of been slipping with your area of wellness, this is kind of the time that you're going to want to do a health check. If you want, see where you're at, bring in new herbs, bring in new areas of area of cleansing that is natural, that is structured around the herbal medications. Nothing too, producty, or nothing too gimmicky. So if you need to throw out some of those supplements that you don't know what they are, like read the package, throw them out, and bring in natural natural elements. So that could be like chamomile, ginseng for energy, cinnamon to decrease the blood glucose. There's all kinds of herbal remedies that the Capricorn needs to look at right now. Also, for the Sagittarius, this is a perfect time for you to really almost take that rest cycle, especially right now in your areas of dreams and mystery and disillusion. Like for the Sagittarius, if you feel like somebody has been disacknowledging who you are and disacknowledging really the person that you are in the relationship or the person that you are as a whole, and they're almost making you feel that you are uncentered in your own purpose. This is a perfect time for you to really let go of that area and also let go of anybody who is toxic or who is lying to you. If people have been lying to you as a Sagittarius, you're going to really want to take this area to clear your inner circle. This is something that you really need to do before it becomes your season, before the sun is aligned with you, because you're going to have a massive energy shift. So you're going to want to cleanse the area. You're going to want to cleanse the soul. You're going to really want to establish what secrets have been continuing to come back up. Why are these secrets still here? You're going to want to address them. You're going to want to let go of the mystery, and you're going to want to acknowledge them. And then you're going to want to take that area back to self, where you let the self-care really dive back in, and you let the self-care establish that you are safe and establish that it is not in a disillusion. It is actually reality based, and it's time for you to live in your higher self. Also, this is a perfect time for you to be centered around meditation and grounding and sound energy for the Sagittarius, and just kind of take it easy this season. Okay. So don't get too high energy right now for the Sag. Just kind of take it easy. I'm very interested to see which Scorpios are going to make the news. Every time there is some major astrological events taking place, for instance, the sun has entered that Scorpio sign, there's always um, some type of gossip or some type of newsworthy content. So I'm very interested to see what Scorpios are going to make the news this season. If anybody hears of any Scorpios making the news, go ahead and let me know on either Instagram or TikTok. Some of the famous Scorpios we have to look at. We have, I believe Joe Biden is a Scorpio. We also have Jamie Lee Curtis. Drake, he is a Scorpio. Let's see if anybody could think of any Scorpios. Let me know. Those are just the ones that I'm thinking on the top of my head. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio, he is a Scorpio. Kris Jenner, yes, Kris Jenner is a Scorpio. That is true. Kris Jenner is a Scorpio. Leonardo DiCaprio is actually a Scorpio, but he has a big Libra stellium, which I did read his birth chart. And I said that's why he dates so many younger women, is because he's living in his Libra energy instead of his Scorpio. Juliet is coming with all the Scorpios. I love it. Okay, Katy Perry is a Scorpio. Oh, so she must be a stellium. Okay. And Bajork, she's a Scorpio too. That's amazing. So let's look out to see what Scorpios make the news. And everybody have an amazing, amazing, amazing Scorpio season. I believe I will be doing some more rooms coming up. So just hit the bell or follow. Definitely tap into my Instagram if you are liking and learning about astrology, or you just love astrology. I try to post a lot of astrology on my Instagram, on my podcast. I do chats or podcasts about astrology. Tomorrow, I have the in depth understanding of the throat chakra out, and I'll probably release this episode. This is going to be a live stream for my podcast. So I want to thank everybody who listened and have an amazing day. Bye.